Hi, and welcome to this special episode of Dev Casey's podcast, featuring Where Amy? I wouldn't call her little, but Miss Riding Hood, and your local, but not so pleasant plague doctor. Nice to see you.
Happy Halloween.
So this is our special Halloween episode. I would say very special, but we're not that famous, so only slightly special.
only just a hint.
A minuscule amount of special.
The tip between a Godzilla claw to the other claw. About like that much.
Yes. So, the theme of today is horror.
Why I'm dressed up as a Sonic character.
When you honestly came over like that, I didn't even know you were dressed up.
Right? I mean, this is what I usually wear to bed, except for the claws, because it's kind of difficult to go to sleep on these, because, it's just rubber.
I just figured those were your jack-off gloves.
No, do you know how hard it is to jack off with these things? No, I get Sonic gloves for that. They're easier to clean. And it also makes me feel like I'm getting jacked off by Sonic. Because, I'm Amy.
Oh, God.
Oh, we're off to a great start.
That was the real horror story right there, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
I terrified them when I came in.
So, to start off, we're going to start with movies. Horror movies.
Yay!
So, when you hear horror movie, what is the first thing you go to? Let's start with you, Little Red Riding Hood.
Being scared shitless.
Like, do you mean specifically what movie? Or the feeling
like,
you
what
feel?
genre of horror? Like, are you kind of a...
Well, I mean, that's what you have to think of first when you think of horror movies. Being scared. Come on, that's the point.
So, do you think, like, does your first thought of horror go to, like, Freddy or Jason? Or does it go towards, like, Paranormal Activity? Or what's your sweet spot?
Well, the problem is I've already been thinking about 28 Days Later this morning, so that's automatically where I go to. Normally, is that where I go to? I don't really know.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. I think of it more as just a whole. Like, I think of scary movies I've seen, and that's kind of the genre, even though they're all different.
Okay.
So I got nothing specific for you, sorry.
Jesus, man.
Sorry, where Amy was thirsty. Jesus Christ.
God, Lord, man.
Turning into the monster.
Happy Halloween, everybody. But, okay. So, what did you say again?
Well, I don't think of anything specific.
I'll bring the question to you.
Okay,
Go ahead. Oh, you know the question.
First thing that always comes to my mind is, when I was a little kid, I was always terrified of slasher movies. Okay. Those were the ones that always terrified me. I remember Freddy vs. Jason, and
that piece of garbage,
right? But to me, when I was a kid, that was utterly just terrifying to me because my mom always, my dad would always threaten my brother like, don't watch this without adult supervision and all that shit. And I was sitting there going like, oh my God, this must be the most horrific thing in the world. And I only caught like glimpses out of the corner of my eye when I was a very little kid. But then when I got older and I watched it, I'm like, this is not even that good. This isn't even a scary thing.
So as a kid, Mike Myers terrified the shit out of me.
Mike Myers was the worst. Him, Jason, Freddy, Chucky. Chucky still gets me to this day.
I'll get to Chucky here in a minute.
But then when I started getting older, I became less afraid of them, but they seemed more interesting to me. I like the concept of Freddy, at least with his powers.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool, because you can never technically die.
So, classic Freddy or, like, the new modern, bitch.
Classic shit.
Well, you don't like the, creepy, perverted bitch face
No,
Freddy?
No. That was fucking weird. I'm talking classic. I'm talking the first Nightmare on Elm Street. OG Freddy down the hallway. His arms are extended, scratching the freaking sides of
I mean, with the foam noodle.
Yeah, the foam noodle arms. You know, that terrifying visage. That's the shit that comes to mind.
So that's what you think when you think horror. Okay. For me, if I went with children, it would be Chucky. And I got a funny story with Chucky. I was in that era with when My Buddy dolls came out. I don't know if you ever remember them, but
look them up. They're haunting.
Yeah, yeah. And Chucky was based off of those My Buddy dolls. And my older brother decided, I'm gonna fuck with my little brother and show him Chucky. You know, Child's Play. So I watched it, and like any sane child would, I took that My Buddy doll and I threw it out the window. Now, we had Rottweilers growing up, and they tore into it a little bit. A couple months later, my mom finds it outside, decides to take it inside, sew it up, clean my room while I'm at school, and set it on my bed. That was probably one of the most traumatizing things as a child I could imagine.
I just imagine baby Casey just in the corner crying, like, it's alive! It wants my soul!
I wasn't aware that we were talking. I thought we were talking, like, right now what reminds us of horror.
I just meant in general. So, I'll reiterate the question to you.
The Grudge.
Oh, God.
The most terrifying thing to me ever. Because as a child, I was scared of literally everything. Classic Scooby-Doo. I mean, like, if I watched an episode of Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network, I did not want to go take a shower by myself. I was so scared. Like, it was pathetic and sad.
Oh,
I'm a lot better, I swear.
That's great.
Don't chase me. But I remember being about 9 years old, and I watched The Grudge over at a friend's house. To this day, I still want to vomit in fear whenever I think of that. Whenever, like, he made me watch a couple clips of it the other day, and I was like, no, we can't do this. I gotta leave. I gotta go. I can't do this.
So that's what we're doing today. We're gonna watch The Grudge. It's Halloween.
I'll watch the original, the Japanese one, but can we please not watch the one with Sarah Michelle Gellar? Don't like it. The jaw falls off and the little boy over the side of the bed and under the covers.
Come on, honey.
I can't remember which Grudge. I think it might have been the Grudge 3, where
they made other ones.
Yes,
they made multiple ones.
Too.
There was one where they took a serrated blade and stabbed someone in the throat and just started carving up it. And I watched that when I was like 13 or 14. I stayed up the entire night. I sat in the corner of my room with a flashlight on because my mom refused to let me keep all the lights on. So I kept the flashlight pointed in every direction. Every 5 minutes I would change it up. Like, where the fuck are you, you fucking ghost bitch? I ain't dealing with this shit. Even though you know, what's a flashlight gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna see it coming.
Actually, I'd like to point out that flashlights are very effective. When I was really young, my sister and I had bunk beds in our room. She was on the bottom, I was on the top. In the middle of the night, she pops up, so I smashed her in the head with my reading light, and she fell over. So I would like to point out they're very effective.
Oh! Try it again, huh?
Yeah, no.
It's like playing whack-a-mole.
Yeah, she did not try that ever again. But yeah, so, The Grudge. Fuck no. No. On a, what is it, a note train to fuck Natville? Yeah.
So, see, I got over my fear of Chucky.
Well, aren't you just a
I didn't.
adult?
I fucking didn't. My brother forced me to watch all 3 Chuckies in a room, and he would just grab me and just make me watch it.
Good God.
Fully make me watch it. And because my brother was a sick, twisted, sadistic fuck.
I now understand this.
Exactly. All this stuff is, comedy to hide the inner exterior of a terrified little boy who wants to just go home and not think about killer dolls. Now, the premise of Chucky is stupid. I know that. It's almost like if, Woody from Toy Story came to life and tried to kill you.
Punt the damn thing.
You punt it. It's not that difficult. The only way that Chucky could actually kill anyone
is if you didn't see him coming.
If you didn't see it coming, then, he cut your Achilles tendons. But even then, you can still grab him and just fuck with him.
Yeah, well, I was thinking more like top shelf coming down with a knife.
Yeah, or, you fall asleep and now he's taped you up or something like that. It's mostly with prep time that he could actually... He's like Batman.
And in a one-on-one fight with no prep time, he'll lose.
Yeah.
But, give him a few hours of prep.
Yeah, you could fuck him up. It's number one, the animatronics and his design. It just looks uncanny to the point of terrifying.
Or get Uncanny Valley kind of shit going on.
Yeah, number two, it's his voice, because the person that voiced him is, to me, really fucking creepy. And number three, it's the scarring and all that shit on his face. It makes him look more terrifying than he actually is.
Right.
Because, if you did that to, like, a Cabbage Patch Kid, like, if you put a Cabbage Patch Kid in front of me and try to make him terrifying by putting a knife in his hand, I'd be like, what's this shit?
Look at his cute little chubby cheeks now.
Yeah, I would destroy you.
Now, you put, something like... That's kind of why Five Nights at Freddy's kind of gets that, because it has the Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, to me, that's another franchise, video game horror show.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but that's the one that actually really got to me. Because I've played Five Nights at Freddy's by myself, and it actually does... A lot of people look at, people like Markiplier or Jacksepticeye or anyone that plays it, and they're like, oh, these people are some fucking pussies. I get it. If you're not terrified of that stuff, I understand. But Uncanny Valley, to me, is creepy.
It is. Alrighty. So, let's talk styles of horror movies.
Alright.
Okay. So, let's break it down to one that's been popular for a while, but has started on the decline. Gorefest movies.
Alright.
Saw,
Yep.
Hostel,
The Evil Dead remake.
I
I don't think it's a bad
We're not
movie.
calling them bad movies.
was about to say, oh, good
But
buddy.
It is a gore fest.
It is. It's
It is a gore fest.
Because the one
House
thing,
of a Thousand Corpses,
Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects. There's a lot out there. So
Would you count From Dusk Till Dawn as a gore? No, that's more like it has a lot of gore, but not enough. Okay, never mind.
not really.
I'm just thinking of him killing the lady and it's all bloody. That's like anyway.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about rank it up to a 10.
Excessive violence.
Yeah. Yeah, let's crank this up to a 10, maybe to 11, depending on the movie.
I'm sure there's some B-rated ones that are in there somewhere that we're forgetting that are just.
oh yeah, there's a lot of
so many.
We'll get to B-rated movies. That's a whole section of this.
B grade, exploitive shit. It gets real bad.
Yeah. So, Gorefest movies. Your opinions. Go.
I'm not a big fan of them, mostly because to me, and I've only watched a few, so don't quote me on this, but to me, all it is shock. Because I've only watched a couple of the Saw movies. I've watched The Hostel, and I've watched the new Evil Dead remake. The new Evil Dead remake was pretty damn good. I enjoyed it. But it's not terrifying to me
It's
as a
unnerving.
horror. Yeah, mostly it's there for you to see, all these people being brutally dismantled, and it's supposed to be disgusting and disturbing to you. To me, I'm just like, I'm not terrified.
So,
Just more, I'm gonna vomit all over the place.
Yeah.
alright. I'll ask a question to both of y'all here in a minute. Your opinion on Gorefest.
I don't see a point. I like some plot with my horror. That's why I like the Evil Dead more, because it's a kind of loose plot, but it's still got something there.
Yeah.
I don't see the point in Saw movies. I've seen one of them. I can't remember. I was like, this is just the stupidest shit I ever saw. And I don't watch Gorefest movies really.
Okay. So, to y'all, Gorefest, it can be good as horror, but it has to have plot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Why is it every time we do a podcast,
It was-
Apple wants the update?
Because it hears you.
Yeah.
It's
Apple
like-
wants your sweet ass.
It does.
I heard
Look.
they were on this computer.
I'm sorry, Apple. I'm an Android fan. Sue me.
Wait, okay, so
Oh, whoa, hi, cat.
denied. Well, okay, so now I have a question then. So what about disturbing versus Gorefest? What are we differentiating here?
I'd call Gorefest where, a
I
good
mean-
example is, Hostel, where, it's the really only redeeming factor is the murder itself.
Okay, so we're talking about Gorefest, lots of blood, murder, and
Skin
murder.
being ripped off.
It's kind of like
Well,
torture.
but then what about
torture
disturbing movies?
Alright, name a couple. Alright, a couple of them.
Human Centipede.
Alright,
They
that
just have
genre.
eyes. Things that are disturbing.
but not overly gory.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What are your thoughts on those type of movies? That is a genre in itself.
I've watched the.
No.
It's so hard to articulate. I've watched one of the Human Centipedes because I think there's at least 3.
Yes, sir.
3.
You got classics like The Fly.
I enjoyed The Fly. I really enjoyed Fly 1. I can't remember all that much of Fly 2. I think I liked it kind of. To a degree, I'm okay with them because with The Fly, I understood why it was. There was a reason for the gore.
Yeah,
Or
there's a psychological element to it.
Yeah, because, he got in a teleporter with a fly and it transformed him, and he starts to slowly become a human hybrid of a fly. So, of course, his skin starts to fall off. Of course, he snaps the dude's arm and arm wrestling. Yeah, and vomits on him and all that. Of course, that makes sense in and of itself. But with shit like Human Centipede, I watch it and I'm like, okay, so a mad scientist just decides to stitch people up for reasons?
Because he's fucked in the head?
Yeah, because he's a fucked up person and he makes one of them shit in the other one's mouth. And then that person eats that and then he shits it into the other person's mouth. And I'm just sitting there like, I didn't need that. I didn't need to know that.
I didn't need that in my life. Thanks, no thanks.
Yeah, you've now taken up space in my brain. Movie.
Although I love the parodies that.
There was like 50 million parodies.
Like the South Park parody of the apple.
Yeah.
The Applepeed. However that was.
Okay, so I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I can't remember where that film came from. I want to say Poland. Sorry if it's not really Poland. Sorry, Poland. Or whoever has that. But the whole thing was because the director that decided to do it, or whatever, he was like, he said that the best punishment for pedophiles was to be sewn ass to mouth with a fat truck driver. And so that's where the whole idea for the movie came from.
Well, that makes sense.
I know. How do you go
that's
from
why
that
it's
to
kind
that?
of that's why it's kind of half baked in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's because it came from a simple joke, just like the Kevin Smith movie Tusk.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing came from a premise that he was talking about on his podcast, and a lot of people go, "Yeah, it shows," because it wasn't really that thought out. It was mostly a half baked idea that wasn't really fleshed out.
All right, so I agree with you. So it's still kind of gore and disturbing. I'm gonna kind of mix the two. I want to go back to Saw, actually. Saw has been very popular for a long time, and people would argue that it has a plot to it. Do you feel that, in that kind of sense, because you and I kind of agree that Saw's not that great?
Right.
I think I agree with you too.
You agree
yes,
with me?
I don't like
Okay.
it. There's no point.
What do you think they went wrong with that?
Okay. First off, the one thing that I think was really good, I enjoyed the first movie. It wasn't, a horror masterpiece, in my opinion. But what they did was they made a B-grade, semi-gore-ish movie for the first one, basing it more on, people being punished for the sins of what they've done.
Whatever.
Yeah, and that was
It was
fine.
more suspense.
Yeah, it was more suspense. And the fun thing about it is, if you watch behind the scenes, you realize that the people that were making this really didn't have that much money. So they had to keep the scenes very minimalistic in areas, and they had to reuse scenes and stuff like that. But it kept down to the small, simplistic roots of, some weird psycho deciding to torture people on a small scale. I feel like there was 2 issues. Yeah?
We got to move in here.
Which would have been fine because the video didn't stop.
Yeah, thank God.
Okay.
But there was 2 issues that I think really kind of took Saw off into the wrong direction. Number 1, they kept ramping up each time to the point of absurdity, because you just start realizing that one dude couldn't make all these elaborate traps by himself
and not get caught. Where is he finding all the space to do this?
Second, they relied far too much on twists. That's the one thing, because every Saw movie everyone started to think that, oh, there's going to be a twist after the first Saw movie because,
Right.
yeah, because I can't remember who. Oh, there was a dead body in the middle of the room.
Yeah, who was Jigsaw?
Yeah, who was Jigsaw, and he leaves, and it's like, fuck you, and closes the door, and he starves to death. So then, after every single one, there has to be a twist, and 9 times out of 10, not 9 times out of twist, the twist is, one of these people is actually working for Jigsaw. Ha! I'm like, fucking
And now
shit.
apparently in the new one, Jigsaw's apparently alive.
Yeah.
Or some.
Yes and no.
haven't
I've heard spoilers of that.
Okay,
It's-
I haven't, but like the trailers were kind of hinting towards that.
Spoiler alert for anyone who actually wants to go see that movie. I don't know why you would, but okay. It's technically someone found plans of a jigsaw trap that happened years ago.
Go ahead.
Just making sure it didn't freeze on us again. Who the plans already went off, and now he's trying to reenact the old shit that happened last. It's freaking stupid.
It's convoluted.
That's another thing. It just gets convoluted after a while. And third and final thing, in my opinion, is that they were trying to make Jigsaw omnipotent.
Right.
That was the main issue, because everything, everyone sat there and said, oh, the reason that Jigsaw got away with it is because he thought ahead of time. It's like, yeah, but how far ahead of time can you fucking think? No matter what. Half the time, I think after the third one, he was dead. So, all this other shit was him thinking ahead after his death. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They should have ended it at the third one. After Jigsaw died, they should have finally ended it. And, that was the final death.
I mean, I agree. And the other thing I have a problem with that series is just if you look at any of the traps and you have any knowledge of just simple physics or engineering or anything like that, some of them are just like you can get out of that.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to break that chain. You have a lot of tools on you.
Yeah, I remember one where...
Especially with the new one.
Yeah.
The whole premise is they're being led by a chain, and they have so many things around them.
And they don't reach for anything.
And let me play devil's advocate as a, Saw fan. And they'll be like, yeah, well, they're strapped up, they're, they're terrified, they don't have that much time to think critically and all that stuff, so, they just have to do it or they'll die. How would you respond to something like that? Like, if someone was sitting there like, oh, when you're in the heat of the moment, you wouldn't think of that.
Well, here's the thing. That is a thing. Panic is a thing that would stop you from doing something like that. But, you're talking about a person who's trapped maybe, 50, 60 people?
Mm-hmm.
One of those people will have critical thinking skills.
At least one of them will have the ability to be calm in a panicking situation.
Exactly.
One of them.
Not everybody panics in situations. Some people have
I'm taking these things off. They're far too sweaty.
some people have more of a fight reaction than they do a flight or panic. So, you're going to get the one guy who's going to wake up, because usually, there's a good period where you wake up, they just don't know where they are. The trap hasn't even started yet, and they're connected to the chain. One guy might just wake up and go, oh, I need to get out of this chain. Oh, hey, look at this conveniently metal-shaped thing. I'm going to prop it up here and just work for about 5 minutes to try to break it. Something like that.
There were 3 traps that I had seen in the series that made me even go, oh, come on! There was, there's several others, but there's 3 that I could at least remember. There was one where the dude had to fill this vial up with enough blood, so, they're able to escape, and the only way he could do that is by, he saws his hand, and the blood, there was a trap in the middle of it, where it was a metal box, and
I remember.
And I was like, why don't you just whip your dick out and pee in it? Just piss in it. Can it discern what blood and piss is?
I mean, density-wise, maybe. But...
Just piss a lot. Just find some other way instead of mangling your fucking hand. Another one that happened was there was a giant nail grenade in it, and there was 4 pipes, and there was 5 people. You need you would fight over who got into it. But then when you got into the pipes, you would see that they could fit more than 2 people.
You see, the big one for me was actually in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
When the guy had a hacksaw and a gun. Don't even mind the bullet. Take the hacksaw off, prop that part into the chain, prop it up, and just start hammering with the butt of the gun until you bend the metal of the chain.
Yeah, there's...
Anyway.
You can just break down most of these straps if you think about it. Like, okay.
Especially in the first one, because there was no urgency.
Yeah,
like, the panic would have been gone after, like, the first 10 minutes. And they show that in the movie, them just, like, sitting there. And
yeah, and the person that was trapped in the thing, he came back towards the end. He apparently, I think he had, like, a rock, and he busted his foot. No, that's another person. But he sawed his fucking foot off. And then he burned it, to cauterize it, he burned it on, like, a steam pipe. And then he walked out. And I was like, did you not even try to saw through the chain? No, he did. He did.
Yeah.
I think it just was too thick. But
yeah, but, I mean, it was 12 gauge. Or not 12 gauge. It was thick chain.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry for the rant. I don't want to spend too much more time on Saw.
You could go all day. Yes.
I could go all day on a rant on Saw. Okay, so moving on. We're going to go now in paranormal genre.
Like activities.
Yeah. Well, this would be your paranormal activities, your spooky haunted horrorness.
Casper.
Well, if you want to go in a lighter sense.
No, I just love how he said.
But yeah, hauntings, possessions.
Are we talking things we like or things we don't like?
Just the genre in whole.
I'm a really big fan of the show Supernatural, so that should tell you a lot about how I feel about supernatural horror.
Okay. So.
Really, really like it. Especially when it's done well. Hell yes.
Alright, what about you?
I think the genre started off well, but is petering out for me. Because to me, and this is mostly mainstream stuff, so if there's indie shit that's really good, please, point me to them. But most of the new shit that deals with the paranormal, it's always the fucking same. It to me, it feels like it's just copying Paranormal Activity. It's always a found footage movie, 9 times out of 10.
And welcome back. Sorry about the technical difficulties there.
Jesus.
Yeah, this is what happens whenever recording stuff decides to throw a hissy fit. So, back to what we were saying. You were saying Paranormal Activity is cut and paste.
Yeah, just
not Paranormal Activity.
The paranormal genre, at least as of late, and 2010s and all that stuff. I just feel like it's just nothing but copy paste. 9 times out of 10, it's always a found footage movie. It's always a demon or a spirit that's attached to one of the people living in the house, or it's attached to the house itself. When it's the found footage movie, it's always, night 1, a candle gets knocked over or something. Night 25, the doors start getting slammed. Night 50, one of the kids is missing. Night 90, the dog's dead. Night 100, everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just formulaic. I have yet to see one that breaks the mold that I can remember.
What about stuff like Insidious?
So like more, or even older, like traditional stuff, like Poltergeist. Fuck yeah.
I loved Poltergeist. When I watched that, it was actually terrifying to me. Because it didn't seem like they gave a shit about, building suspense or anything like that. It's like the ghosts wanted you the fuck out of their house. And it doesn't matter if it's night 1 or night 100, I'm kicking you the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it escalates appropriately to me.
What about the newer Poltergeist?
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No. It's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Seriously, they just need to stop remaking shit, in my opinion. At least if you're going to remake it, bring something really new or interesting to the table.
Alright. Since we're on Supernatural, and I guess this would kind of fit into it, because it's not technically a possession, but it.
I've only watched the old It.
You haven't seen the new one?
Not yet.
Ooh, okay.
I wanted to. Did you guys think it was good?
I thought it was definitely really good.
Alright, I'm going to go to her, because she is super critical about it.
Because I always feel bad saying this because it makes me sound like a really fucked up person, but I love the novel. I love it. It's so good. It's so fucked up, but I love it. So I always have a really hard time. I have to compare it a lot to the book, obviously. Source material. I thought overall they did a really good job. But I do have some really nitpicky bits that I go on forever and ever. A couple of things that I really didn't like, and he pointed this out to me. So child actors aren't as good with stuttering, but one thing is that Stuttering Bill was supposed to stutter. He did not stutter nearly enough. That was one of the things that ostracized him so much, is his stutter. That's why he was part of Losers Club, and I don't feel like they highlighted on that enough. Another thing, they got a lot of the fears wrong for the kids. They changed them up.
Try to make them more 80s.
Yeah, they tried to make it more 80s and stuff. So that I wasn't so fond of. And another thing too is they switched around some of the roles of the kids, specifically between Ben and Mike, because the whole thing is that Mike was supposed to be the historian. He was the one that discovered all the he discovered a lot of the connections with things that happened in the past and what was happening now, and they put all of that onto Ben, and I didn't like that. He had a different role, so they kind of switched that around, and I didn't appreciate it. But other than that, I thought there's a lot of things that I could nitpick, but
okay.
Overall, I thought it was really good. Thank you for letting me have that moment.
Wait, before we continue, I want to know from you, which one do you think was better as an adaptation, the old It or the new one? Or can you not decide?
Strictly as an adaptation, the new one is definitely better.
Because I've only seen the old one right now.
I have to say the new one did get my jollies going.
Oh, okay.
Got your rocks off on this one.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
He's just sitting in the theater where the clown's eating so much. Yeah!
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's the face that he makes. That's the glove he wore, too.
So, my thing with it, the new one, is I love a lot of the scenes. Did not like the voice of the clown. How the clown talked bothered me.
Would you like a balloon, Georgie?
Yes. I get it. They were trying to make it more playful.
But also sinister.
But it didn't come off well to me. And like, if you compare it to Tim Curry is in his own class.
A legend.
Yes.
I do have to say, I have seen the drain scene from both of them.
Yeah. And
to me, the Tim Curry one did it better.
Yeah.
Because the Tim Curry, he didn't seem terrifying.
Right.
When he's, I mean, you know, as a normal human being, if you see a clown in a drain, whether he's being, you know, jolly or not, I would fucking run.
Right.
But Tim Curry tried to make the kid seem he made himself seem playful. So he's like, come on, Georgie, come on down here. We all float down here.
Like, but with the new one, you got pedo vibes.
Yeah, he's just like...
And I think, I just actually thought about this, but I think a huge thing with it is because I want to say this word, never.
Juxtaposition?
Yes, that's the word. Between the trying to be playful and the costumes they were using.
Yeah.
Because the original Tim Curry, a god, you didn't get a really scary vibe off of what he was wearing.
He just looked like a clown.
Exactly, yeah.
In a sewer.
Exactly. So the kind of playfulness he was going for really went well with what he was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
I think a big problem too with the new one is that you look at him and he's fucking terrifying. Even as a kid, if I looked at that, I would be like,
Yeah, he doesn't look like a carnival clown that's just supposed to be having fun.
Exactly. He doesn't even have to talk to me, and I know that's fucked up.
Yeah.
So
like, there is something wrong with this. Fuck this shit on out.
Exactly. So there's a disconnect between how creepy he looks and how he's trying to be cute and friendly. Like, I'm just great. Come have fun with me. No. Thanks.
I mean, it works to, terrify, but with what it is trying to do, it would be best if he looked more like a normal clown to lure these fuckers in so he can eat them.
Oh, you haven't even seen the dancing part.
Oh, the fucking...
Oh, yeah,
I've seen that as a fucking meme the entire time, and I, for some reason, thought it was like, it was a joke. I thought that wasn't actually, like, it was like a gag that happened afterwards.
That's in the movie.
Oh my god.
That's in the movie.
I saw that and I was like, this must have been like a deleted scene or, like a gag reel or something like that. He's just dicking around in the nope, it's real. Oh my god.
Now, what I did love about the new Pennywise is how they made him more marionette.
Right.
Exactly. Sorry, really quick. A huge thing is that the clown is not the evil itself. It's just a manifestation, the part of the entity that moves around and interacts and lures in the kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the first movie, you don't really get that. You think the clown is just the entity. He is the evil, but that's not what it really is. In the new one, they really get
he
that.
He moves kind of like a marionette.
You see parts where this is obviously just like you see that invisible arm where it's controlling the clown, and then where it gets kind of pulled away. You don't. Like, you get that feeling. You're like, oh, he's just an extension
he's just one of the many puppets.
Yeah,
especially when he comes and does his contortionist bits.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that was creepy. That's good.
The one part I saw in the trailer that I really enjoyed was where they were going into this... it was this room, but it had, like, hundreds of clowns and different things like that, and then you just see him, and he's just fucking books it towards you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I would have pissed myself. First off, I wouldn't have gone in that room. It's like, there's a lot of clowns in there.
Nope.
Yeah, just like, what kid, when facing off on a demon clown, would walk into a room
full of clowns? It's like, I know how to corner him. I'll go into the clown room. Nothing bad can happen there. Oh, God, this was a horrible mistake.
I made a mistake. I need an adult. I am an adult.
Yeah, but overall, I think that they did a really good job, and I'm ready for the second one.
Good.
Definitely excited.
So that's in the supernatural one. That is a good example of a good supernatural. A lot of people like Insidious.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
I haven't seen the first one.
Neither have I. I heard the second one was not that good.
It wasn't.
I remember some scenes from the original Insidious that I saw in like commercials and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The one where I think the wife is looking at the husband and
the red
demons, right? That would have made me piss myself.
Oh, yeah, the first time I saw that, it popped up. I was like,
it's like, what? But other than that, and once again, I know that there's hundreds of different movies in the paranormal saga.
Oh,
that,
God,
yeah. So I'm not.
We could talk all day.
Yeah, so I'm not nailing down that everything in the paranormal banner is like Paranormal Activity.
But
there are a lot of cookie cutter ones going out.
Yeah. And horror's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's hard to nail down. And even if you try to do the exact same thing one movie did, it may not work in another, decade. Like, there's some things that are subtle in other movies that you can't do in today's.
Like classic Hancock. Or
not
Hancock. Hitchcock.
Let's Hancock.
Founding Fathers, yeah.
Yeah, like comparing the old original Halloween to the new one that came out by Rob Zombie. There's a lot of
good.
Oh yeah, I thought both of them were actually pretty good, but there's a lot of subtle things in the original one
that you can't pull off.
Yeah, either Rob Zombie just threw it out like fuck that noise, or
it's just the actor couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, he just couldn't do it. And that's completely fine. I understand that. Like, one thing I really liked about both of them that they changed up, the original one with Michael Myers, all you saw was through his perception, through the mask, him stabbing his family, and then coming out, and you see him just a normal kid. That was shocking, because you're like, what did this kid do? What made him jump to this conclusion? But
didn't get his Legos.
Yeah, he didn't get his Legos.
They got him Mega Blocks.
Yeah, those sacks of shit. He didn't get the Sonic game that he wanted. I would kill someone too if that happened. But in the new one, I feel like they went a bit overboard with explaining why he became somewhat of a murderer. His father was a drunkard. His mother was a prostitute. Sister just slept with anyone. And all he had in his life was his little sister. But there were still some moments in there that really were interesting to me. Because you just watch this just degradation of this little kid until he becomes this just maniac.
Right.
Yeah.
And alright, so let's move on to the slasher movie.
Wait, really quick, before we move on, I would like to give a shout out to the movie The Awakening. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. Super good. Supernatural British suspense movie. I'm in love. I love it. I watch all the time.
I'm actually, after slashers, I'm going to give a shout out just to all Halloween movies that we want to do shout outs to.
Well.
So, jumping the gun, but good.
Well, I didn't know you were doing that, so I had to get it in there before I sneaked in. Anyway, keep going. Sorry, slashers.
She needed to get her shots in.
Yeah.
Speaking of shots, okay. Alright, so Halloween's your ultimate slasher movie.
Okay, my ultimate slasher movies. It would have to go Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 2, because they were good.
Following
Friday the 13th, the original one. I enjoyed that one.
Okay.
Jason X, just because I want to laugh at it. I found it so fucking funny. Leprechaun in the Hood.
Is that hard to laugh at one?
Yep, that's a 100% to laugh at.
Now, do you consider those two horrors?
They were billed as horrors, so I'm going to consider them.
Okay.
But to talk about actual good slasher movies, the remake Halloween, I thought that was good. Then the original Halloween, and I think there's like one more that I'm forgetting. There's another slasher that I thought
Let's
was really
see, Scream. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh God, I can't watch that. Oh, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I can't watch that. It was fucking stupid.
I don't even know how many of those there are.
I think there's 2.
No, there's more than 2.
Oh shit!
And they continued on.
Ugh.
I think there's like 4 or something.
They should not have. They should have stopped at the first.
Stop!
You did an average job with the first. You can cut it off now. Shit. I remember that there was another one that I really liked watching. Can't remember its name.
Okay.
Yeah, just.
Alright, so your list.
I don't actually think I've seen a lot of slasher films.
I need to fix that.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't know. I've always stuck more toward like supernatural and.
I think you were like Nightmare on Elm Street.
I did see a newer one. I haven't seen like maybe
The remake.
Yeah, which I was
The
like.
remakes are pretty
I was just like, nah. So I'm not ruling them out because I haven't really seen any.
So you're just still Ultimate Grudge is your ultimate horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. That and The Tree from Evil Dead.
Oh, that tree is fucking disturbing.
I can go through the entire movie perfectly fine, but that's the only part where I'm just like, no, I don't like it. Cut your tongue, stab your eye, cut off your arm, whatever. No tree rape.
Get back to that one real quick. The remake of The Evil Dead when the car flipped off on the girl's arm and she had to rip it. That's where I nearly puked. I nearly was just like, ah!
Alright.
Oh God!
I loved it. It
See,
was so good.
for me, I don't like slasher movies that much. They don't scare me.
Yeah, I'll be honest. None of the ones I listed actually scared me.
Well,
When I was a kid, they did, but nowadays I can watch them and just be completely fine.
yeah, that's the kind of thing is, and for anyone who doesn't know my background, I've done quite a few adventurous things, a few fights here and there, but I'm not afraid of someone with a knife.
Yeah.
The idea of someone walking at you with a knife, I have weapons, you can take a knife away from someone. Then you have the situation like Mike Myers or Freddy or Jason, they're super strong, they're super this, super that. You take a shotgun to someone's knee, and I don't care how much they can handle the pain or whatever, you're not walking on that knee.
Right. Which has always been weird to me. Well, the one thing that when you're dealing with a slasher movie, there's 2 things. Either they're impervious to weapons,
Right.
or every time someone brings a weapon, they're fumbling dumbasses with it.
Yeah.
Like, there have been so many times where, someone has a gun on Jason, and they're about to shoot, and something happens. Or they do shoot, and they don't shoot, for the knees, or, for the head.
Well,
they go for the chest.
I mean, I would too. Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Center
with the
mass.
guns. Yeah, center mass. But if I go pop, 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 and he doesn't drop, my next options are going to go pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
Then also, the one thing I've always loved about
Or
these
the head.
movies, the one thing I love about these movies is they never double tap. They never. They shoot them once, and then they fall. Yeah, they're like, oh, it's all over.
God, no, it's pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, just unload your next clip into his head to make sure it's just a brain slushy.
Especially if he's killed like 5 of your friends already.
Yeah, there's no way in hell that dude's gonna fucking live.
Isn't that the huge joke about Halloween? About how, like, He gets stabbed. They run away. He comes back. They stab him. They run away. He comes back. They just keep going. Why don't you just cut off his foot? You know, like it's fine. You did it the first time. You do it.
Slice his Achilles tendon. He's not getting the fuck up.
Yeah. Okay.
And once again, the argument would be, they're very terrified and they want to get away from him as quickly as possible. But
some people have a fight reaction. Yeah. Not everybody flies.
Here's the thing. It's not even that hard. All you have to do is once you stab him in the back and he falls over, just stab him in the head. Or cut his Achilles tendon. Or just make sure he's not going to be able to come back.
You don't have to kill him. Make sure you can get away.
Yeah. If he doesn't have his Achilles tendons, he's not getting up. There's no magical way for him to get up when his entire Achilles tendon is gone.
Yeah.
If you're trying to kill someone, make sure they're dead.
Yeah.
Alright, so shout-outs to favorite horror movies. We're top 3 that you want to give shout-outs to. Alright, top 5.
Okay, we also missed a genre.
What genre?
Zombies!
Oh, shoot. We did.
That's like an entire thing. What's wrong with you?
Let's talk about zombies real quick, and then we'll get the shout-outs. Zombies.
Zombies bore me.
Zombies bore you.
I'm not a huge fan of zombies. Not even a bit. I know. You guys look at me like I'm a freak of nature.
I thought we were going to be friends. Yeah, just cut the deal. Sorry.
I know. I'm a horror person.
When the Zombie Sonic game comes out,
I'll only halfway like it. If I see a zombie Sonic, I might enjoy it. But yeah, I'm completely over the genre. For starters, if you're dealing with the base level zombie, instead of the ones that are supercharged and that are able to run after you, they're shambling corpses. They can't really go that far. They're not that much of a threat. Second off, in my own opinion, in America, especially where everyone and their mother has a gun, I don't think it would be that big of a outbreak as everyone discusses. I think most of the time when a zombie movie happens, it's mostly after the zombies have already taken over. They never really talk about like the first couple of days of a zombie outbreak.
What about one like Resident Evil,
where they are supercharged and deadly,
and like other
World War Z.
mutated?
Yeah. For the game itself, for the games, I think it's interesting. When a zombie apocalypse is in a game and they put another spin on it instead of it just being
about
basic.
the Resident Evil movies.
They're hot garbage for other reasons.
They are true.
Well, I always watched them without considering they're from the games. I just titles are
completely different.
Yeah.
I think the only way zombies become even a modicum of interesting to me is with the mutations.
Right.
With the different shit that makes them a lot more terrifying. Like, here's, there's normal zombies here, but there's also, Nemesis stomping the fuck around who's about to crack your fucking skull
Or
open.
you got, what is it? Oh, fuck.
Those,
with long tongues.
Yes,
yeah.
what the
brains.
fuck are they called? Ooh, it's gonna drive me nuts now.
But yeah, you see those, and that's like, okay, that's what we need to be terrified of.
Yeah.
The other ones were just fodder. That thing will snap me in two.
Yeah.
That I get. That's interesting and that's terrifying. But also I'm kind of annoyed that it's just become like a default thing.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't know if you guys liked it, but World War Z.
I love the book.
I haven't read the book. I watched the movie, and it was the most boring thing I've ever watched.
You should read the book. It's really well done.
My brother enjoyed it a lot for some reason. I don't know why. I watched it with him, and I'm like, if you take Brad Pitt out of this is even much of a lower grade movie. Because first off, Brad Pitt's a good actor if he's given something to work with.
Yeah.
If he's just hired as, Brad Pitt playing Brad Pitt, it's just like, what's he supposed to do?
It's kind of like any Tom Cruise movie nowadays.
Yeah. He's still a good actor in some areas. It's just, if
Give
they just if you just hire him to be Tom Cruise, then what's he supposed to do?
You mean Brad Pitt?
Whichever one.
Same thing.
They're all interchangeable in my mind.
Alright, so zombies.
Okay, so a lot of you argue, and I kind of agree, this is not technically a zombie movie.
28 days.
28 Days Later. Be Still My Heart. One of my favorites. I love it.
I don't think I've seen it yet.
Really? It's a good one.
It's not. It's technically a rage virus. They're still alive. A shot to the chest is gonna kill this person.
All right.
We're not headshotting him. I mean, we could, but they're in. Oh, whatever. You can kill them easier. But
A lot of spooky things happening with my equipment, it seems. Welcome back.
It's like the Phantom of the Opera in here. Someone's just fucking with your system.
Yeah, really. I mean, one day we do a Halloween special. You
Yeah.
know, all my equipment just decides, I'm going to take a break on you
Yeah.
in the middle of what you're doing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking? Fuck you.
Alrighty. So as you were saying, the zombies are killable.
yeah,
Right.
I just love everything about it. I can't help it. I love the characters. I love the zombies. I love the plot. Just great. I love it. 100%. Perfect.
So that's number one zombie for you.
Yes.
What's number two? We're talking movies.
I know we are. See, that's the thing. I'm not a fan of a lot of other zombie movies.
I liked, what was that one? Can't remember it right off. It was the one where they had the society and like the skyscraper who was all fancy and then everybody outside. And the zombies were starting to regain intelligence.
Warm bodies?
No. Well, I do like that one. Not technically a horror, I don't think.
Dawn of the Dead? Something of the Dead.
Yeah, it's got that one actor in it. That's not helpful.
That one actor, you know, that person that has that
That one
thing.
actor that I really like, that he's in a lot of stuff. Yeah, that guy. I know what you're talking
I think
about.
it's something of the Dead. But yeah, the whole plot to that is, you know, it is a society where zombies kind of took over. And nobody's really worried about zombies anymore. But the zombies are starting to get intelligent. They're starting to learn how to use stuff, how to
Weaponry,
gather together and work as groups. Now, in a zombie situation like that...
That would be terrifying. Because you have undead people that are very, very difficult to kill. Gaining intelligence. That's the one trump card most humans have over zombies. Yeah, I'm smarter than you. I can do whatever the fuck I want with you. You're a shambling corpse that has no brain other than to eat. But then the second they start to think, you're like, fuck, shit, we're screwed.
Like,
they also are using AK-47s.
Like, one of the scenes in it is like what they do to distract the zombies is they'll shoot fireworks up and the zombies will just stare at the fireworks. But then, like, imagine, you know, that being always working for years and then finally all the zombies just kind of...
Look back at you. You wet yourself a little and be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I was about to say that those pants are turning brown. Whatever color they were, they're now brown.
Back to the truck! Back to the truck!
Fireworks aren't working anymore.
And, like, one of the zombies figures out how to use a gun.
It's just like that same scene in one of the new Planet of the Apes. I can't remember which one it was. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, where one of the apes come into the compound, and, you know, he's pretending to be just like a dumb gorilla, and, you know, he grabs one of the guns from the guys, and, you know, he's pretending to still be stupid, so they're like, oh, calm down there, buddy. And he just fucking guns them down.
That sounds great.
It was fantastic. I loved that scene because it was very tense because they did it 2 times. The first time, you know, he still pretended to be a dumb ape, and then he walked away. Then the second time, he did the same thing, shot them fucking dead, and then just stole their guns.
Yeah.
I mean, so zombies are great in some movies. I do agree that whenever it kind of just becomes generic zombie show A, generic zombie show B, yeah, it does kind of get a little...
What do you... I know we're talking about movies here, but what are you guys' opinions on The Walking Dead?
Love it.
Okay.
I really like it. I haven't seen any of the new season 7, that's new to us. But yeah, I really like it a lot.
I've watched the first 2 seasons.
It's fun to make fun of, too.
Yeah. I stopped at the second season, the one on the farm.
It definitely got better, though.
Okay, because I was about to say, if it was just going to stay like that,
No,
I was going
It
to get
gets
real bored.
rocking and rolling.
Yeah, after they realized that the farm was stupid, and then they just get themselves in so much trouble.
I also know that, you know, spoiler alert, Glenn, you know, gets his head fucking caved in.
Fuck.
When I saw that, I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was a fan favorite, too.
Yeah.
Um,
Glenn was the only hope.
Z Nation's also another show that I really love.
The one on the,
wait, getting into shows now?
No, I'm just touching on Z Nation.
The one on
Just
Sci-Fi?
a shout out. Yeah, just a shout out to Z Nation. It doesn't take itself serious.
Good.
It's kind of a comedy. Kind of
Well, see, I think that's another issue that this is like a pseudo issue that keeps getting brought up. More horror things are not being taken seriously anymore. It's more of a, it's more of a, you know, like, oh, this is a campy thing or something like that, and it's you know, it defangs horror to a sense.
Yeah, true.
But also, I think this is also the only way that most people are going to watch horror movies.
Right.
For them to be, you know, slightly campy and fun in some instances. Because if you don't do that, then you get stupid shit. Like, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like Unfriended?
Yeah.
That new one where it's like a, that's
Like
oh,
a Facebook
social media horror is
ridiculous.
So stupid. Because this isn't the first time they've done that.
Oh, right. There's another one.
There's lots of them.
There was one where they were dealing with Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just, it was like 6 friends that were on Skype, and apparently one of the other friends that they had committed suicide because of something they said. And no, I think that one's the one that was called Unfriended.
I was gonna say, isn't that the premise of the new one?
No, the other new one, I can't remember what it was called, but it was about a
Facebook.
Yeah, it was about Facebook, and there was this one girl that had 0 friends, and then one was, you know, nice enough to say, you know what, I know her, we'll be friends. And then she started, you know, stalking her technically, and
then it's like this witch thing.
Yeah,
Cult
it was.
thing.
Yeah, it was a cult witchy thing.
You know what?
It was fucking stupid.
That's the Emoji Movie of horror.
Right.
That's what I call that. The Emoji Movie of horror.
But all right.
If you want to talk about a real horror movie, the Emoji Movie.
Yeah.
Watch it. It'll give you cancer.
Yeah, it's just nothing. But
now again, if I start working for you, Sonny, ignore anything I've ever said in the past. I love your company, and I will always be a loyal.
If you want me to, I'll sit there and watch the Emoji Movie while I work.
I'll wear the shirts.
Yeah, I'll wear the hats. I'll wear everything. You see what I'm doing for free? Now give me money. Watch what I do.
You're not a sellout if you admit it from the beginning.
Oh. I'm not going to pretend here. I'm getting money.
All right. So shout outs to horror movies.
Shout outs to horror movies.
28 Days Later. The Awakening. Wait, how many do I get?
5.
Ooh. The Shining, both of them miniseries, and the Kubrick. Stakeland, and From Dusk Till Dawn. Those are all my favorites. I love them.
Okay. Shout outs.
Nightmare on Elm Street. It'll always have a special place in my heart. Alien. The original, not Aliens.
I loved Aliens.
Well, I loved it too, but I'm talking strict
That would be
horror.
my first shout out. Then.
Yeah, my strict horror, because to me that one's more suspense.
I got you.
And not this Alien Insurrection, whatever the fuck this new one was. I could not stand it. It was awful. I did not like it. Did you guys ever watch it?
No, I didn't bother with it.
Can I just say the Sonic fan base in general?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
all you Sonic fans out there. OG Halloween and The Shining. The Shining really was a very suspenseful one for me.
Mine are going to be the new It.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, go see it. It is worth it. Please go see the creepy Pennywise.
The mannequin dance.
Yeah.
The mannequin dance. Yeah, you gotta go see it. It's worth it. It's an experience. The Haunting of Connecticut.
Oh, damn it! I love that one. Okay, keep going.
That was another good one. The original Exorcist, if you've never seen it.
I forgot about that one.
No, there's so many of them.
There are a lot of them. The original Psycho.
Yeah.
Albert Hitchcock's Psycho, not the remake. Please, God, ignore the remake.
Or the second Psycho, because there was a second Psycho that was made.
Yeah, They have a miniseries, which is great too.
I haven't seen it.
With Bates Motel or whatever.
Yeah, it's really good.
Alright, anyway, number 5. You got one more.
Got one more. What would it be? What would it be? You know, I'd say Scream.
This profile shot of my thing was really nice.
Yeah.
Um,
The original Scream. Again, it's an experience. You'll either love it and laugh, or you'll hate it and think you wasted a few hours.
I gotta change to it now.
All right.
I'll take the Sonic fan base out of it. You know, I'll stop picking on them for once. And I'll take out the original Halloween, Poltergeist,
Oh,
yeah.
and The Exorcist, because
Yes.
The Exorcist was one of the first horror movies that I watched as you know, in my teens, 16, 17,
Mm-hmm.
going on 18, that truly still terrified me. Because there was one scene where the girl was walking back down the stairs backwards, and I remember it vividly because it scared the shit out of me. Not because of her walking down the stairs, my mom. Because she had seen that scene before, so she had preemptively started to scream. And I'm like, what? So the scene was even more tense and terrifying to me before I even saw what was happening.
Alrighty. Also, one last one for me, because I'm the host and I can break rules.
Oh,
The Ring.
Yeah.
it was actually pretty. Wait, the original or
Yeah.
the remake? Or the American remake?
Anything made in America is better.
I like the original better.
I don't know if I've seen the original.
But watch the original one, or watch the American remake.
Oh, and if you want to see like a deconstruction of horror movies, Cabin in the Woods. I enjoyed it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It makes fun of a lot of tropes in a
good way.
in a good way. It actually makes sense, and it also points out a lot of inconsistencies in horror movies, and I think it's really cool.
The unicorns.
Yeah, the unicorns.
Alrighty. So we're gonna move on to a new segment of horror, and we're gonna keep this one a little bit short and just kind of, instead of breaking it down into different segments, just the whole horizon. Horror games.
Horror games.
You love them, you hate them. You got jump scares, you got suspense. Your thoughts on them?
I don't play them because I'm a pansy. I'd love to watch other people play them.
I did get you to play a little bit of Emily Wants to Play in VR.
Yeah, and I stuck myself back in the corner, and this is me, head whipping around, waiting for it. It's terrifying. No, it actually wasn't that bad. The suspense is what got me more than a jump scare. But yeah.
Well, I feel like that's the thing with most like horror anything. It's the suspense that fucking terrifies you. The jump scare is just like, okay, that's over now.
Yeah, true.
It's the suspense of you just waiting. Come on.
Rape you, fucker, yeah.
So, good examples, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes.
Now, it's not quite the jump scare that gets you, it's the knowing he's coming.
Yeah, the suspense of having to check every camera.
And having to work out patterns and things like that before he gets to you.
And even if you don't use your camera that often, because I remember watching Markiplier play it when I first heard of Five Nights at Freddy's, and there were times where he was like, "Oh, I don't have to look at the camera. I just have to make sure that Bonnie and Foxy aren't trying to fucking kick in my door." And then he forgets Foxy actually runs if you don't look at the camera, and he just pops in. So there's always this fear of like, okay, there's something or someone coming for me.
Yeah.
All right. And my next question, you have games like that, but then you have games like, Resident Evil, not the newest one. That one I'm gonna hold off to a different segment. But
You just can't keep rap, man.
yeah, apparently. But or like Evil Within, or action horror.
Yeah.
Do you think that the action takes away from that?
A bit. And this is just my philosophy on it. If I'm able to kill it, it becomes less scary.
Okay.
I mean, if it's able to jump out and make me piss myself a little bit, then that's fine. But it cuts back on the suspense when I'm able to put like 50 bullets into it and it's a corpse now.
All right. What about games like Dead Space then?
Kind of the same thing for me.
Did you play the original?
I played bits and pieces of it on a demo. I never played the full one.
You never got the Big Bob then.
Mm-hmm.
There is an enemy that is huge, kind of fat, and when you dismantle him, he comes back together.
No,
you can't kill him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking creepy.
You can only slow him down while he chases you.
Oh, that fucking idea is weird. I love it. It kind of reminds me of the Resident Evil creature. I can't remember what it was, but It's just this like giant, tall, black creature.
A regenerator.
Yeah, that no matter how many times you shoot it or stab it or whatever, it never fucking dies.
Pieces will fall off, but eventually they just like come back together. Like,
but yeah, and also the thing, I call him Big Bob. Right? He has a name, but to me he was Big Bubba Bob.
I would have just called him a cunt.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing about him is if he got a hold of you, it's a one-hit KO.
Oh, up yours.
If he got to you, it was a cutscene of him just ripping you to shreds.
It just reminds me of the fucking clickers from The Last of Us.
It's pretty much...
Those always piss me off. I'm not saying that they weren't creepy, the sounds that they made, but just the one-hit kills piss me off so hard. Because I could be perfect in a run, and then I just don't see one clicker behind me, and I'm fucking mauled to death.
Really quick. I found the name of the Resident Evil ones with the brain and the tongue. They're lickers. God
Lickers.
damn it! Had to know.
So yeah.
For the record, they're lickers now.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that was the thing about Dead Space. I got used to kind of the jump scary things and actioning, about 3/4, just like halfway into the game, this big thing. So I'm like, alright, whatever. Do. I turn around for a second, gather saying, I turn around. Oh, God!
And see, I think that's what a lot of horror movies, a lot of action horrors lack in some sense. Because, they have to throw in something that is either unkillable or will freaking terrify you.
Yeah.
Because if they don't do that,
it's just generic monster A kill.
Yeah, it comes out and it scares you. It's like, ooh.
It just turns into another shooter,
Yeah. With just, after you dim the lights a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so then on the other end of the scale, you have things like
Outlast.
Or Amnesia.
Amnesia. I feel like those work better as horror games, but also they're frustrating. Because to a lot of people, they don't really see that as a game. It's just,
storyboard.
Yeah, you kind of just hide in the corner until the monster leaves, and then you just keep walking.
What about what Aliens game was it?
Alien Isolation.
Isolation, where they you can hide, but they'll rip open the door.
Now that's tense. As fuck. Because I've played that game, and you have no idea how terrifying it is.
I have Oculus. I can get you in that VR.
You just don't understand the fear when you're in the room completely, in the dark. And, you're in a fucking locker just praying to God the xenomorph just goes the other fucking way. And then he just rips open the door. It's like, God damn! And yeah, especially with video games, once you've played it a couple of times, it's no longer scary.
Right.
It's just frustration.
Yeah.
Because, it wears off after a while. If you're hit with a jump scare far too many times, you're just like, okay, that's another one.
Right. So here's my thing. Do you think, as a developer, it is harder to do a horror movie or a horror game?
Horror game.
Okay.
Because, to me, I feel like that it adds another dimension to it. With a horror movie, you can drag these people through a conveyor belt of fear without that much of an issue.
Right.
With horror games, if they have autonomy, they can go practically wherever they want.
Right.
So, they could miss an entire scare that they weren't even supposed to see because they're off, picking up loot in the corner.
And I think, too, I think it's an easy question, definitely. It's definitely easier, or which was harder or easier?
Harder.
It's definitely harder for games because you have to, like that, yeah, the whole thing is that it's a whole other dimension with this person interacting with it. With a movie, you're just a passive, you know.
You control what the player, or what the
people see.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to worry about,
them turning their head, looking over here when
exactly, yeah, exactly what you were saying. You have to add a whole nother dimension to it you have to consider, and I think that's ridiculously hard.
I mean, I know several people, let's bring this back to Five Nights at Freddy's, that on the third night never saw Foxy. Foxy never came out of the Crystal Cove because they kept looking at him and stuff like that, and he wouldn't move. So, everyone's like, okay, wow, this isn't really that hard. And so they keep going on. There are points where, a complete scare that's supposed to happen in, this one won't translate to one person or another.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to bring it to the final subject. We got about 5 minutes left, 5 to 10 minutes left. Is Resident Evil 7.
Alright.
Have you played it?
No, but I've watched people play it.
Alright, so
fully through.
And same with us.
Yeah.
I have a little experience because I like to play stuff and demos and whatnot, and I get chances. Your thoughts on that? How they handle the horror aspects of that?
I think they did really well with the horror aspects of it. I think they did pretty good, especially towards the very beginning of it. Especially when you only have like a pistol, and it could barely hurt those fucking gangly sons of bitches. And also, I think the design of the creatures were pretty terrifying, mostly because of the height and the way their mouth is positioned. Because and also how they move. Because when you walk into a room and you just see that thing just slowly start coming towards you, you're just like, just beat them.
Yeah, no, thanks, no.
Alright. Your thoughts?
I thought it was pretty darn good. Like, obviously, like you said, haven't played it, just watched. I definitely think that they really get the horror across. Especially a big thing I like about it is the isolation. You're not in this huge city with all these resources anymore. It's this fucking house in bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah, this fucked up farm.
Yeah, exactly. But they add all like the kind of secret passages, and it's bigger than you think, yada yada. Another thing too that I enjoyed is that as they got further along in Resident Evil, it became more action based, right? You run into copious amounts of ammo and all that kind of stuff, lots of different weapons. I like that they dialed it back to more original, where you got a select amount of weapons, you got to use your ammo wisely, and that's your kind of thing.
All right, I agree. Now, one thing I noticed about Resident Evil 7, which I gave it applause, is it tried to touch every little aspect of horror. Campy, suspense, gore, disturbing, every little aspect.
Paranormal too.
Paranormal. Every aspect of it they tried to touch, and they did, in my opinion, successfully. Like the family. The family themselves was terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, the guys, you can't kill him. And he's just chasing you with a shovel.
Yeah, you can only, incapacitate them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
even then it wasn't that successful.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, even towards the end, even after you blew up half his body, he still came back.
Yeah.
So, you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, so I think they got all the aspects of it, just every little aspect of horror. I think the developers took a long time to watch a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
And I really think that too, I like that kind of each different family member represented sort of a different horror aspect too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the father was unkillable, the mother was all like the insects and the grossness, and then the son or brother or whatever you want to consider him, he was like the psychological bit to it. Yeah,
I would love to see that Dick try to say, you want to play a game.
That was pretty much what he did.
You want to play a game?
Oh my god, yeah.
Here's the thing. Did you see some of the DLC? The card? Yeah, he has a whole little card game thing to where, like, you have many guillotines in your hands, and if you lose a finger.
What is it, blackjack, I think?
Yeah.
What they're playing?
Something like that. It was something like that.
I would have been screwed because I don't know blackjack.
Yeah, it was just one of those things. And you're playing against someone else who's actually trapped in there, too.
Oh, God.
And whenever you win, he'll electrify the guy, and then he's on wires, and you have to play a dead body.
Oh, that's so fucked up. That is so cool.
It was very good. It was nice.
However, I do have to say this one thing. I did play the original Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
I played some of the original Resident Evil 2. I do miss the camp that was made from the old Resident Evils. This one to me felt good. It was a really, really good movie.
And they did add some camp to it, too.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Yeah, it wasn't, all seriousness and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know, I guess it's just nostalgia for me. I just really enjoyed the originals, too.
Yeah.
And also, I wasn't one of the people that overly hated Resident Evil 7.
Nice. I love Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Alright, so, favorite horror game?
Just to watch or something.
I like Outlast the best. That's a really fuck. Resident Evil, I guess. Yeah, it's gotta be Resident Evil. It's a tie.
Alright. Now we're kind of Outlast 1, right?
Yeah, not 2. Fuck 2.
You.
5 Nights at Freddy's. I even enjoy the whole series.
For me, I'm gonna go kind of out the box here. Not really out the box. Silent Hill 2.
I knew that.
Oh
Was
shit,
coming.
we skipped Silent Hill completely. But yeah, okay, definitely. Yes, Silent Hill was.
That was a close second for me.
Yeah. All right. 5 shout-outs. 4 games. Go.
Just so this list goes quicker, the FNAF series,
Okay.
Resident Evil 1 and 2, Resident Evil 7, the original Outlast, and Silent Hill 2.
Okay.
I don't know. We've already touched on the ones I really like. All of these, all of them, they're good. I like them. Go for it.
Okay. Condemned.
Yeah, that was good.
The Suffering for the Xbox.
I don't think I played that.
Manhunt.
Oh god.
If you can get a hold of it.
Yeah.
I loved Silent Hill, any of the Silent Hill games. And one I really loved, and I would love to touch on, but we're out of time, is PT. Although it's only a demo or a teaser.
I would have loved to have seen that into an actual game.
I would have too. Oh. But anyway, those are some shout-outs. And this has been our Halloween podcast. I hope you all will have a spooky and terrible but great Halloween night. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.